Renuka Methil is the managing editor of the award-winning Forbes Women Africa and Forbes Africa titles. She took on editorship of Forbes Women Africa in February 2014 and the Forbes Africa editorship in January 2018. She is particularly excited about the future of female entrepreneurship and leadership on the African continent.
In many ways, what goes into putting together a magazine is what goes into life itself. One moment you're staring at a blank page, a blank canvas, empty but soon to be filled with the infinite promise and possibilities of color, images, stories, people, and life. A blank canvas that was the stage only just yesterday, filled with the promise of today, filled with vacant chairs yesterday, but now bear witness to some of the biggest and brightest names in Africa. Every woman in this room today would have had her own blank canvas and many lonely, contemplative moments in front of it when the only thing powering her dream has been ambition and adrenaline. When the only thing that will not cut her story short is her tenacity and temerity to make her way into the history books and the hearts of Africans. But that moment when it has just been you, or by yourself on your journey, you must recognize that moment as an entrepreneur, as an artist, as an Olympian sports athlete, is when creativity is born out of pain, quietly, patiently, uncomfortably. And it is this discomfort that sets you on a pathway to change as you refuse to be reduced by the events and circumstances around you. And this we know, my team and I know, because of the stories we've heard so many times for every issue of our magazine, and indeed what you will hear today on this platform. Be it the dulcet voice of a 15-year-old singer, our youngest speaker today in the Spotlight segment, who rides a horse and also gives wings to her dreams with her song, or the 21-year-old twins who didn't let personal or financial hardships come in the way of letting their dreams soar on the same aircraft, on the same plane. One is a pilot and the other is a flight attendant. Or the story of the 20-year-old climate activist who came home to drought and the heartbreaking reality of her farm animals dead and her community hungry. Or the winemaker who's come to the summit despite being in the middle of a busy harvest. Or the marginalized, undocumented, small-scale female farmer toiling to feed Africa. They all hear the artists, the entrepreneurs, the raconteurs, each with a moving story of grit, gumption, and gravitas. On this stage, they will pull back the curtain on their lived experiences, revealing their authentic selves. This is the power of the personal, the power of the in-person event that we have now returned to. After 2 years of being held as a virtual summit, this 8th edition of the Forbes Women Africa Leading Women Summit is aptly themed Women 3.0, the icons and ideas shaping Africa. Now, why Women 3.0? These are the icons here today representing the generation of female leaders advancing and changing our societies now and in the future. They're leading a paradigm shift, entering a new era of evolution as the next step of development on the continent. I'm extremely pleased to stand here today to welcome all of you, including Your Excellency Dr. Naledi Pandor, the former First Lady, ambassadors, and many other distinguished guests, and all the delegates. I'd also like to welcome Mr. Rakesh Vahi, the visionary Vice Chairman of the Avon Group and founder and publisher of Forbes Africa, as also Mr. Sid Vahi, the Executive Director of the Avon Group, and Mrs. Roberta Naika, our very driven and dynamic Managing Director. I'd also like to welcome the entire ABM team here and my colleague and friend, Jill de Villiers, who I call my right hand and my left hand in the weeks leading up to the summit. Weeks and months of hard work have preceded this massive production that's going to unravel here today. And together, as this conclave of leading women, with the pandemic still lingering as a very bad memory in our immediate history, a war still raging on in another part of the world, and climate dystopia at the world's doorstep, let us ignite historic shifts for a common future. And with our brand of trusted, best-in-class journalism, and as the gatekeepers of content, we are the ones, the storytellers, writing the first rough draft of history. And that indeed is the best part of Forbes Africa for me, that my inbox every morning throws up the interactions with everybody from every walk of life, from politics to arts to sports to business to music, pretty much like this room today. And when Africa wins big, be it in development or even at the Grammys, for example, we're not just preparing reports, we're writing history. There is music on every page. There is every story that comes alive with sound and syntax, just as the stage will today. We even have artists fresh from receiving their Grammy gongs just last month, speaking to us today among other illustrious speakers, but their messages and voices will reverberate in this room, as it is our hope that this summit will inform and inspire as a day of some great networking, thought-provoking content, and a free flow of ideas, setting templates of success for others to follow. But ideas can't win if they're not heard. And in this room today, we will hear them, we will back them, we will live them with courage, conviction, and curiosity. For every summit is but one teeny tiny tenacious step forward in the right direction for everyone. And as poet and civil rights activist Maya Angelou said, "You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I rise." Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 2023 Forbes Women Africa Leading Women Summit. Thank you.